I want to give Harry and Meghan's past employees a little bit of credit. I do think that they've tried to work with really intelligent people, but the reality is they don't listen to some pretty good advice that they've been given over the last few years. They just refuse to accept it. They always think they're the smartest people in the room. And what a dangerous position to be in. Hi, all. Welcome to Reading Royals with body language expert Scott Rouse. I'm Kinsey Schofield. Reading Royals brings history, headlines, and human behavior together in a way only Scott and I can. We go beyond palace press releases and carefully staged photo ops to look at what is really being communicated. And I want to say right off the top, Scott, we have some great fun video of the working royals that we are going to dissect. We love the working royals. We've got some fresh video in. However, there was some breaking news over the weekend, and we talk a lot about security here on the show. We talk a lot about security involving Harry and Meghan, and the kids, Meghan posting the children online and the risks that it creates. So I wanted to get your reaction to a story that broke in The Sun. Matt Wilkinson revealed, the headline is, Harry may not bring Meghan and the kids to the UK next month as extra security request rejected. And now The Sun says that Harry will not receive enhanced security for his upcoming trip to the UK. And that because of that, well, actually, let me get the quote. The quote is the most audacious part of this. Like, Harry and Meghan's reaction to this news is classic Harry and Meghan. A source close to the couple accuses the Home Office, the government, and the committee responsible for assessing their security of willfully creating conditions that are making it nearly impossible for them to move around Britain. And so now there is a real question surrounding whether Meghan will come with the children. I think you're aware of Harry challenging Ravik in court, wanting armed police protection automatically whenever he comes to the UK. He lost that bid in court. That was a very expensive loss. Then he went on the BBC immediately following that loss, telling the BBC that Britain was not safe for his wife and children. He even said that he was afraid somebody would throw acid on Meghan Markle's face. Like, who paints that picture for people in an interview? He also said in that interview, we should have just watched the interview. We should have just redone that body language. Yeah. He also said in the interview that he didn't know how much longer King Charles had to live. And it was such a shame that he wasn't getting the security that he wanted because it was going to limit his access to his father. And then he also says that the king is responsible for this, that the king could make one phone call and change this, which is not necessarily true. Harry was essentially suing the king when he sued the government to reevaluate his security status. And so he's in a pickle here, Scott, because if he goes and brings Meghan and the kids, he's basically saying that the security that they've had over the last 6 years is sufficient. And if he doesn't go, it looks like emotional blackmail. What is your response from a security standpoint? And what's your response, or what's your prediction, I should say, when it comes to Meghan actually going to the UK?
I would say with that personality type, she's going to go. She wants to go. So I don't know. And I don't think the decision is up to him because I don't think he makes the decisions over there. I think she's the one that makes the decisions. So if she wants to go, she'll end up going and take those kids with her. And they'll just deal with it and they'll give them something to complain about. Yeah. Give them something to talk about and complain about. I don't think anybody's going to be throwing acid on her. I mean, who do we have left to make fun of? Like, if you knock her out of the picture.
Right.
So, yeah, no. So, I think she would want to go. So I think she'll be going unless there's something going on that we're not aware of. And she wouldn't go.
Well, I have said from the beginning that I didn't really feel like they wanted this meeting with King Charles, that it was they were setting King Charles up to be the villain again because they wouldn't get the security they wanted. And then they could say, we didn't feel safe, so we didn't come. And King Charles yet again becomes the bad guy. But to your point, I understand that Meghan has a product that she's going to launch within, or project. I'm trying to figure out exactly what this is, that she's going to launch within the next 6 months. And so a trip like this, joining Harry's redemption, a tour, this attempt at reinventing themselves or changing public perception. Look at how sweet we are engaging with children. Look at how charitable we are. Look at how giving we are. That would be in the build up to another launch of something else, Meghan Markle Inc., and it's important that they try to get out of that villainous space. So I'm torn because I've said I'll believe it when I see it from the get-go, but I see both sides, that maybe they never intended on bringing the kids, and it was all about making King Charles out to be the bad guy and reminding everybody that maybe even making Charles feel so guilty for this one instance that he feels obligated in 1 year to show up at Invictus and give Harry what he's secretly been scheming, which is that royal presence at Invictus in Birmingham next year. Or this is just an attempt for these two to try to win over the public. Meghan Markle polls around Andrew, Mountbatten Windsor, former Prince Andrew at this point, a creep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
and so yeah, professional creep, allegedly, and so I see both sides. I don't even pretend to be psychic in this situation.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, it will boil down to what she wants to do. What I'm telling you, it sounds horrible, but that's what's going to happen. If she
Yeah.
thinks it's best for her to go, unless, like you said before, they're just pretending, they're setting up this thing to let it go. What have we thought the longest? What's been when we first heard about this? Was it we heard that he was going to go, or they were all going to go to London?
We initially heard that he was going to go, but in classic Sussex fashion, they hinted that Meghan and the kids could join him. So the debate was immediately whether Meghan and the kids would come. And my initial instinct has always said no, because Meghan doesn't really like the UK. And, she accused them of being racist in her Netflix series, Harry and Meghan. And they don't like her. The feeling's mutual. They don't like her either. And I do think that she risks putting herself in a position of being booed and humiliated if she does go. And I've also had people email me saying, well, that's why the kids are important. They act as a human shield, because what decent human being boos Meghan or throws a tomato at her when she's got her kids with her? So I have seen that argument as well. My audience has said that to me. So my initial instinct is that they won't go, but I totally understand. And you're talking about it from a completely different, you're talking about it from a completely different standpoint.
Personality breakdown perspective, because I think
will a narcissist know they're loathed? Will a narcissist care if they're booed?
It would bother her. But she won't put herself in a position where she is under the impression that people are going to throw stuff or yell bad things at her. Of course, she wouldn't want to do that. But I see why because I'm always talking about how they hate themselves. So you'd think, well, maybe that doesn't bother them. That does bother them, but it depends on the level that she's at.
Mm-hmm. What about desperation level when it comes to her professional pursuits? So if she's desperate because she has been failing in the public eye, Spotify, Netflix, the Polo series, Live to Lead, Pearl was canceled. Like if you look at all of the Confessions of a Female Founder, which, she was like, so what, Spotify, I found a new vehicle. And then all of a sudden, like she abandons that. If you're desperate to win, if you're desperate to have a single win, might that be the fire that that's lit under you that actually makes you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation.
You've been over there hanging out with the king more than she has in the past, not just 6 months, in the past years,
Six
right?
years, yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would think I would this sounds horrible, but I would ask you what you thought before I started making decisions about what you know about that. Because if she is going to get, if she is under the impression that she might get embarrassed over there, maybe she wouldn't go. But I can't help but think that narcissistic personality type would say all the cameras would be on her and she knows that it's an event. But I wouldn't go against you if you said she's probably not going to go, but I see that personality winning over his.
Mm. And keep in mind when they did their Australia tour, hard eye roll, that everywhere she went, whether it was the site of a massacre or not, or a room full of sick children, she was selling the outfits she was wearing on her AI app. So every appearance is an opportunity to make a sale, to make
Yeah,
commission, you know?
that's true. Well, yeah,
It's
that's true.
gross. It's
Yeah,
gross, but it's
yeah.
true.
Mm.
Like
I
just
don't know. I just think that personality type would win. She sees it as an event. Look at me. That's all she's about. And it's just, I just think that's what it would be. Okay.
and they need that proximity to the royal family because
Yeah.
otherwise they are completely irrelevant. They have a horrible reputation for their lack of work ethic, for their lack of ability to collaborate with genuinely talented people that know what the hell they're doing. They've
Mhm.
driven off multiple production companies and producers in past projects, and the only thing that makes them worth talking about is their relationship with the British royal family. And surely to God, no matter how narcissistic she is, she recognizes how important that relationship is to her because
Yeah.
she's not trying to hang out with Thomas Markle.
Yeah. That's sad. You know,
It is.
I'm like, yeah.
I mean, it is. It's a sad
It's
observation. It's a sad
terrible.
observation. Her father recently lost a limb, and it's my
Yeah.
understanding is closer now than he was previously because he's trying to, I think he was getting a new prosthetic or something that
Mhm.
brought him closer to home. And if your ultimate goal was really some sweet little reunion, then you could also call your dad. But the fact that they only ever want to engage with King Charles tells me that there's an ulterior motive. And that ulterior motive is the sparkle that shines, that rubs off on you when you're around the British royal family.
Yeah. That's why you're sparkling today.
Really? Thank you.
You just
Thank you,
got
Scott.
back.
Thank you, Scott.
Mhm.
I appreciate that. Let's talk about some real working royals. Or did you have
Yeah.
anything else? Are you concerned about them from a security standpoint? Are you seeing anything or hearing anything going on over in the UK that makes you think that Harry and Meghan need armed guards waiting for them at the airport?
Well, no, not at the airport. I mean, the social, um, it looks a little different over there now as far as the mixture of people from, from different countries all in the same spot. As you've seen, it's really different over there right now. So depending on where you go over there, it's like Nashville. Everybody thinks Nashville is great, but you get down to the crime part of it and how things, the traffic's horrible and all that. You see people on the internet going, "Oh, I just moved to Nashville. It's wonderful." But we have a lot of and a lot of crime. And the same thing in London. You don't see the problems there
Yeah.
that are becoming larger and larger.
Right. But these are
So
also the types of problems like getting your phone stolen or getting your
yeah.
watch stolen. Those are never going to be the types of issues that Harry
Oh
and
no.
Meghan have to deal with because whether they have government assisted security or not, and it's my understanding that they will have some level of government assisted security,
Hmm.
they do roll with their own entourage of security. And that I imagine would multiply if they're bringing Meghan and the children.
Yeah, I don't think there's a faction of some terrorist group that gives a hoot about Meghan and Harry. You know what I
Despite the
mean?
fact that Harry brags about killing 25 Taliban in Spare, which you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to brag about your war kills
Well, let
ever.
me tell you, of course I've never been to war, but everybody I know that has been and they have all kind of different, the special ops guys that I know And I'm like, you never talk about this. Here's this guy talking about that. He said, that's one thing you don't talk about, no matter where you're from. You don't say that. You never, why would you bring that? Why would you say that? You went and you did your duty. You performed what you're supposed to do, your service, and that's it. Now, some people have problems with that. So they have to, it's different, but they don't talk about how many people that happened to. You may hear them say it once or twice when they say, I have a problem because this happened and I had to do, when you're watching somebody on a podcast or something, they're not saying, man, I took out 15 guys in this one thing, because I'm sure we'd be horrified if we realized, you know, what's going on with some of these people, and they just look like normal people,
Right.
and they don't talk about that, but maybe that he feels like he needs to, so he gets some attention and make him
Always.
look cool and tough,
Always. I also talked to somebody that's familiar with your work and a fan, Will Geddes, who said that he said he has fired clients. He said if this is Prince Harry intentionally doing this, he's actually fired some clients that he's been hired to protect.
Oh
But
yeah.
we theorized that Harry sometimes puts himself in dangerous positions to try to prove that he is valuable or in more danger than other people, going to the Ukraine, going to Colombia, going to Nigeria. I said, is he trying to say, I'm an important thought leader, I'm an ambassador for whatever, to prove to the government that he is deserving or owed this? And Will Geddes is like, that's a really interesting observation. I know people like that, and I've fired people like that. So maybe when we talk about the revelation of 25 people, intentionally or unintentionally, maybe he's trying to say, like, look, I'm important. Look, I need more protection because of my past. I don't know.
I don't. I know. I think he just doesn't
An
know better.
idiot. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
just
I
an
don't.
idiot. Well,
He's not.
that's always a fair
Yeah,
assumption.
because you know not to do that. That's one of those unspoken things. Those guys don't do that.
Well, enough about them, Scott. Let's talk about the working royals, the more important royals, because they are doing some really tough, important work. For instance, Princess Catherine has completed the Three Peaks Challenge, becoming the first member of the royal family to summit the highest mountains in Scotland, England, and Wales. And she's just so petite and dainty and delicate that, I mean, I am shocked by this. It's incredible that she would put her body through this. Now, this is 18 months after announcing she was in remission from cancer. And the princess said the challenge was about more than testing herself physically. In a message she shared on social media, she explained she wanted to give something back by raising money for a cancer charity, while also shining a light on the lasting impact serious illness has on patients and their families. And again, she did this quietly. She does this secretly, and then announces it once everything's come to fruition, which I think is one thing that makes the Wales family stand out. It's not like building hype around something. It's surprise, it's done, it's completed. And I want your reaction to this video because it's emotional, it's really moving, and I'm curious to see what you have to say here.
Lots of people have asked me why I'm doing this challenge, and partly it's personal. I'm so grateful to be here, to be strong enough to walk these hills. But more importantly, it's to give something back and acknowledge really all the incredible work going on up and down this country. I've met some incredible people, those people who are living with and beyond cancer. And I know personally how difficult that journey is. And I really wanted to use this opportunity as my way of contributing to all the wonderful work that's going on. And in particular, to support the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity, an organisation very dear to me, but who do extraordinary work.
I mean, she
Wow.
it seems like she's going to cry when she thanks the Roy Marsden charity and saying that, that she had a personal relationship with them. I've cried since this video came out. It's like a very real and raw side to her. And tell me, what is she doing with her hands? Is this a way she's coping with this
Yeah.
raw authenticity? Like, okay,
Yeah.
here we go.
That's called adapting. And that we do that to get rid of that built up stress and tension when something is they may have just said, okay, let's sit up and you talk about this real quick. Maybe she's just finished it. I don't know. Doesn't look out of breath or anything, but
Yeah.
maybe they've been talking about it. So why don't we just do a video where you,
It's not
and so,
scripted, right? You're not getting the
oh,
sense
it's not scripted. No, it's not scripted at all. I'll tell you why in just a second. But when we rub things like that, we'll rub our hands, we'll do that, fidget around. We're adapting to the situation and getting rid of that built up stress and tension. Now we know this wasn't planned or it wasn't something that she's already scoped out and is reading word for word or getting word for word and saying that because she never says like that a lot. So every couple of seconds she's looking away and she's saying so you'll know she's going to say something next. But everything seems to be, it starts on in the generalization of what she's going to say, then it gets smaller, smaller, and smaller. So that's the way you do anything. When you first say, if I was to say, Kinsey, tell me about Bigley when you first got him, where you got him, and all that, just in a couple of seconds, give me like less than a minute of that. And you'd say, I went, I got him as a baby. We went and picked him up. He was adorable. I really loved, and you go from that big generalization thing all the way down to the details of it. So, and that's what we're seeing her do. And we don't see any grief up in the grief muscle or in that area there, which is where the glabella and your forehead muscle comes down as the glabella groups up and it makes that upside down horseshoe, even though she's been through a whole lot. It could be from Botox or something, who knows? But we still see the indications of grief because we don't see a full expression of smiling or happiness on her face. And that expression that she's got looks almost melancholy, and it doesn't change much. There's not much that changes form throughout that. She doesn't do a big smile and start talking, then it goes away. None of that. We see a little bit of smiles in there, but that all stays up under this. Once you start going, you get in that mode of an emotion, and you stay in there. Your face, from a facial feature perspective, pretty much stays the same. You'll see little changes, but not big spikes and big changes and things like that. So she's making this up as she goes. She knows what she wants to say, just like we were talking about William. He knows what he's going to talk about. And he just structures it and lets it go. And that's what she's doing. That's why we see the because she's like, okay, I've got to say one here. I'm going to say one here. All at the same time, she's thinking, I've got to make this short as she goes through. But she wants to cover all the things that are important to the cause, all the things that are important to her, and show that's why she's there, is to help and actually do what she's supposed to be doing.
Did you sense the sadness when she brings up her own experience with this hospital that she was raising money for? And what stood out to you? I mean, obviously that jumped out at me when you hear it, and I don't know if I saw it, but I certainly felt like I heard it in her voice when she's talking about how much she appreciates this hospital that saved her life.
Yeah. Well, listen to the tone of her voice when she begins. It's just a little bit higher than when she ends, because as she goes through that, she's reliving some of that situation. Those emotions are coming up again, being scared to death, having to do things you've never done before, getting news like that, being unsure.
Having to tell your
fear.
children what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. So going through all those things, there's a lot that comes with getting something like that. I mean, there's the fear of, do I have it? When they first say, hey, this looks like you might have this, you go through that fear of, oh man, let's see what's happening. So there's that gets on. It's an emotional upheaval like you don't experience anywhere else when you find out that's the situation, because you're not sure how that thing's going to end and how much, time, how long you'll be around.
Right.
So you can tell it on her. She's experienced all that, because there's that serious tone as she goes through, not sadness, but it's almost that, but it's got that melancholy look to it, and as she goes along, we hear her vocal expression, tone, and volume. Those things go up and down too, in a little graph there, if you were to look at them like that. So as she gets more toward the end, it gets a little bit lighter, because she knows it's almost over and she's going to be doing the thanking everybody part. So that was going through all that. It really was, I believe, an emotional trauma for her, because you can see that on her. That's the way people look when they're talking about somebody they've lost, or being through a situation that lasted a long time, where there's a lot of grief, a lot of pain, a lot of sadness. So I think that's what we're seeing on here. I've seen that a lot. And that's what it looks like to me. That would be my impression.
Is there any hint of leadership, a future queen, or are you seeing somebody that just wants to relate to people on a human level because cancer affects everybody?
We're seeing both because we see the control of emotions there. That's the number one thing you want to do if you're in a leadership position is control your emotions. You don't want people to see you get welled up and crying. Nobody wants to follow somebody doing that, although there's nothing wrong with that. But she controls that, And if you remember, what's the saying that the British always say
Never
about?
complain, never explain.
Yeah. So she's not complaining, and we see, but we know what she's been through. She's been through something horrible, but still emotionally she stays stable. That's why I'm talking about that little graph thing you would go through, looking at her if you were to map it out. Everything's pretty dang steady there. She's in that mode and just stays there and doesn't go way down and bring you down and make you feel bad. And I think it's done very well. And I think she'd make a great queen because
Yeah.
she's in control there under a stress, remembering a stressful, traumatic situation that was lengthy.
Here's a quote that reminded me of something you just said from Andy Frizella. If you watch all of these feel good people and listen to what they say, talking about like some of these experts online, some of these gurus you find on TikTok.
Ugh.
And okay, he says, if you watch all of these feel good people and listen to what they say, and then you remember that there's a much bigger market for victims than there are the actual doers. And, not to immediately go into comparisons, but when we are talking about the Wales family versus the Sussex family on this program, the Wales family tend to be the doers, and the Sussexes tend to be trying to monetize and commercialize that victimhood. And it's like you said, we walk away from this feeling good about Catherine, feeling great about her, rooting for her. And that's a skill.
Yeah, because we don't feel like she's selling us anything. There's no reason she hadn't have to do that if she doesn't want to. Doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, she didn't have to do this at all. And this was like a privilege. And again, like one of those a rare raw moment for her. And it does feel like a privilege to be involved in it. Any other observations from that you wanted to point out?
I don't think let's point out the obvious comparison of the two of Meghan and Catherine. With Meghan, she's been through, she says, traumatic situations, but she didn't look or act like that. Hers were lengthy and long. One long said I a lot and to me a lot. And when I, like you said, the victim part of it, we don't hear victimization in this at all, not even a little bit. She's talking about wanting to help and what she can do. She shows she understands what happened because she actually has been through something that's horrific. I'm telling you. Yeah. And we see her remain calm. It sounds corny, calm, cool, and collected. But that's the way you do it. So that's why I think she'll make a good queen.
I do too. Well, let's move on to a happier visual, we should say. Princess Catherine and Prince George made a surprise RAF visit to mark Armed Forces Day, where they met with Royal Air Force personnel and learned more about base operations. Prince George had the chance to tour the facility and climb aboard an RAF aircraft, while Catherine spoke with service members about their work and sacrifice. The Prince and Princess of Wales later shared this video from the visit on Instagram, thanking those who've served and continue to serve, describing the day as a tribute to the courage, skill, and dedication of the armed forces. The outing also offered another glimpse of Prince George gradually taking on a more visible public role. These moments that we do see him in this capacity are rare and super sweet. And it's especially fun to see him with his mom. And again, this stuff is provided by William and Catherine. So we understand that it has like the glossy PR spin, but we're looking beyond that, aren't we, Scott? So cute video provided by the Prince and Princess of Wales. Prince George seems like remarkably comfortable. What does his body language reveal about his confidence level? 12 going into 13 is a hard time.
Yeah, well, a child that age is in an elevated social position like that, they're going to be, this will sound technical, they're going to be exhibiting behavior that's been taught them to use in those situations. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing what he's been taught, how he's been taught to act. You know, his
And it's
parents or
good.
whoever
Like
it
it's
teaches him.
sweet.
Yeah,
He
it's
looks like a
fine.
sweet, raised well, polite,
Yeah,
engaged little guy.
yeah, yeah. It looks like he's doing everything he's supposed to be doing now. We'll keep an eye on his brother because he's uh, the one that's going to be moving the most, goofing around, doing those kind of things. Where he's not. You know, it's
Yeah.
going to be the future king. They all know that, so they can start training them when they're little.
He has grown significantly. Every article about this engagement mentioned that he's almost the same height as the Princess of Wales.
Mm.
Did his posture in that photo, I know photos are harder to judge, but does his posture and physical presence project more confidence than we've seen at previous royal engagements now that he's getting older?
Well, it's a couple of things. Remember, he's standing there with his mother. You know,
Mm.
so all kids when they stand with their mother, it's a little you're on a little bit because you know you're standing with your mother, but he knows it's an important picture. You know, it's an important time. And they'll have a name for it when we're posing, when we're being photographed or whatever the name for that situation is, and you know they've got to have a name for it. Then he's in that role, so that's what he's doing. He's standing up straight and doing that. And if you'll notice, they're not doing those smiles that are out of control. They're very, that's controlled behavior we're seeing and controlled from his part, from himself. So, and when you do that, that also lines your brain up to be a person who is used to doing what you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
I think we see that in King Charles.
We do.
He's used to doing, he knows what to do. And this little kid's going to know because he's going to have grown up knowing his whole life and being trained for it. So I think he'll be a good one.
Yeah.
I think he'll be an excellent one.
Well, I mean, that was my next question. Looking ahead, what does Prince George's body language suggest about his readiness for more frequent public engagements over the next few years? It sounds to me like you're saying he's on the right track.
Oh yeah, by the time he hits 18, he'll be good to go
Hmm.
because he's right in line. You don't get that weird feeling from him, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, you seem like something seems fake here, something seems not right. You see him trying to do
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he's trying to be that person. He's engaged. He wants to do that. He thinks I'm under the impression he thinks that's important. He wants to, and it's important when you want to impress your mother and your father if you have that kind of relationship. And he's trying to impress his mother, and his father's trying to do what they want him to do.
Yeah,
So he
absolutely.
thinks that's important. So I think you can see that on him. I haven't seen a whole lot of footage of him walking around or dealing with other people or anything. But if we were breaking him down and somebody came to me and said, "What are we looking at with this kid? Can he do this or that?" I would say that looks like he could handle. I think he'd probably get close to giving a good speech right now.
Yeah.
Giving a talk. And
Yeah.
I think he'll do that. I think when he's 15 or 16, maybe if they let him do that, I think he'll be so ready they'll let him do it.
I
Because
love that. I love
I
that
think he's
idea.
on.
That's
Yeah.
right. He's on a good path. All right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite royal moments last week comes courtesy of Prince George's grandfather, King Charles, who showed off his playful side during a visit to the Roger Gracie Academy in West London. The king was presented with an honorary Brazilian Jiu Jitsu white belt while learning about the work of Reorg, a charity that uses martial arts to support members of the military, veterans, emergency service workers, and others facing physical and mental challenges. Did you see this video? Did you watch it without me?
Yeah. I
Okay,
did.
like
I've
let's
seen
just
that one.
go right into it because it's super cute. So King Charles immediately started playfully swinging the belt around. Was that a spontaneous expression of personality, or do you think he was consciously trying to put everyone at ease?
I'd say he's never held one of those belts before. And I'd
Really?
say when he got it's got probably got some weight to it, and that's why he was doing that. And as you've said, as I've learned from you, he's a funny guy. And when
Yeah,
you
yeah,
watch him, you can see that he likes humor.
yeah.
So I think that was totally off the cuff. I don't think he planned to do that. I think when you do something like that, it puts those people at ease. Because
Hmm.
remember who's standing in between these two guys that could destroy everybody in that room, And when that happens, there's this thing you go into when you're around those people. If I'm training, uh, the military, and you're standing there and you're talking to these people afterwards, and after a while that goes away, you don't realize what you're talking to. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, after it's over, people come up and ask questions. You all go outside and you're standing there, and then you just happen to look down, you see a little green beret in their hand as they're asking you questions, looking normal. You go, this guy's got to do is reach out and pinch my head off. That's
I'm
all that.
dead.
So
I'm
you
done.
realize you realize you're talking to it's like talking to a grizzly bear that's under control. But
Yeah.
if you were to do something wrong or attack it for some reason, then
Right.
it would have no problem taking care of you. So
Right.
when you get around those a situation like that, it's unnerving a little bit. So maybe he's not nervous, they're not going to hurt him, but there's something about it when guys do that that you want to go, yeah, I get it, man. You can, in other words, he's showing as well, which he does as well, and Diane does this, and so does William. They all sort of make themselves humbled to
Oh, they're
people.
self-deprecating.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
corny as that sounds.
Yeah, no.
And that's what I've noticed about him. I don't think he does care who he's around and all that, but sometimes he doesn't care. He's just a regular old guy. That's the feeling you get by watching him. If you
Yeah.
didn't know who this guy was, you'd think he was winning an award or something,
Yeah.
and that he knew these guys almost.
He is very self-deprecating.
Yeah.
When I talked to him in October, he was like, I was like, no, we love you in the United States. Do you? Yes, of course we do. Do you? Does humor communicate confidence? Is humor something you can use if you're trying to present yourself as a confident person?
Yeah. Yeah. Humor, it's a potent tool if you use it correctly, because it puts people, it sort of catches you off guard because you're putting something in their brain that's not there, that's funny, and lets you know, and they start laughing, you start laughing, and they know you're there on their side no matter what's going on. At that moment, you sort of connect a little bit. So you
Yeah.
can use it in interrogation. I use it some depending on what the situation is. I don't go in there making jokes and things, but if that person you're talking to, if that would help, then it's easy to do that. Then it makes them feel more connected to you. You build rapport much quicker.
So
Doing
it
that.
does make him appear more approachable. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying? Yeah.
yeah. I'm just like not just like some dude, but he looks like someone you could talk to, since he said that. And you have a feeling, because when you make somebody laugh, it gives them a specific feeling, and they feel like they know you a little bit, they're attached to you a little bit more. So that it's a great tool for getting to know people if you can do that. Some people just aren't funny, and that's fine,
Yeah.
you know, and they do great, but it's a great tool if you can use it properly.
Well, can body language experts tell the difference between a rehearsed joke and a genuinely spontaneous moment like this?
Yeah, yeah, you really can, because what we're seeing here is all the things you should see when somebody's actually enjoying what they're saying,
Uh-huh.
and it's not, and it hit him. If you were preparing for that, if you had something planned, here's what I'm going to do, and they're going to give me this, I'm going to be throwing it around, you would see him prepare for that. He'd been really still, and then he'd been waiting for that moment. Then it would kick in and happen. Not, they wouldn't have run as smoothly as it went, because he would have a show or a bit or something he was going to do, and he would be prepared for that. And it's really subtle, and you have to be really good at it, but you can see it happening. You can see him waiting on that moment, and then it's go, and then they start doing it. It's not organic. You don't flow into it like he did. If you pay attention, if somebody rewinds this and watches it, you'll see that he just flows into it. There's not all of a sudden go, and
Yeah.
okay, I'm doing the act now.
Yeah.
You just flow into it. And that's
Yeah.
how you can tell. If you watch comedians, you can see them go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing when they connect their stories together.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
I watch a lot of comedians. They go see a lot of comedy stuff, and you can see that happening as well. So
Yeah.
we don't see that in here at all. Not even
No,
a little bit.
that's so
No.
fun. Yeah, that's good to know that
Yeah.
you can tell when something just reeks of authenticity.
Oh yeah.
Well, you brought up Prince William, and we have a couple of Prince William videos today. He's spent a lot of time out and about. Uh, some losers saying that he is not one of the hardest working royals yet. He's done over 100 royal engagements this year. He's a very busy man, and we have seen plenty of him lately. But he was joined by Emma Watson and Benedict Cumberbatch during London Climate Action Week for a business forum hosted by the Royal Foundation's United for Wildlife. Together, they urged business leaders to step up in the fight against environmental crime and the illegal wildlife trade. Now, United for Wildlife, which William founded to help protect endangered species and disrupt wildlife trafficking networks, continues to be one of the Prince of Wales' signature conservation initiatives. I probably don't talk about it enough. I should up my game there. But the trio focused on the shared responsibility governments, businesses, and individuals all have in safeguarding wildlife. some really great sound bites. We're going to take a look at one of the videos that Prince William's team shared on social media.
Be the leader you wanted to be when you were growing up. 10 years ago, sat with a number of these wonderful people in this room. We went to be as bold as we could be in terms of reaching out to a part of society that probably hadn't been included in all the conversations around nature and the environment. We started with 40 business leaders. We're now, as you can see, nearly 300.
Storytelling is really powerful, and the story that you tell as a brand and the transparency you have and the way that you talk around these issues, it matters. It matters to young people.
It's time to make some positive noise. We can all make a difference. Every single one of us. We are still a part of nature, not apart from it. And that if we learn to live in harmony with it, green is the new gold.
The collaboration amongst the sector has been amazing. Bear in mind, many of them are competitors. And so getting over some of those hurdles initially and saying, guys, you can be the change makers here. This is your planet to fix. This is stuff that will make your businesses stronger, better, more resilient, and also protect your reputations long term. Be the leader you wanted to be when you were growing up. These people risking their lives day in, day out, protecting nature's front line. They are the reason we're all here talking about it.
A lot of access. I wish it could have been clean. I wish it wouldn't have been all jazzed up and edited with audience faces. But I think my biggest takeaway when I watch something like that is compared to someone like Prince Harry, who seems to have uncomfortably memorized certain statistics and delivers them with a lack of confidence. You look at Prince William, who is just rattling off information. You can tell he truly cares about this. He's not just got to get this talk over with and then it's on to the next thing. He is engrossed in this campaign and believes in it and is truly passionate about it. It's like night and day when I watch those two guys talk. Like Harry, I like joke that Harry doesn't have as much imposter syndrome as he should because he's a freaking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
But he tries to play it off when he's got a microphone in his hand, and he just cannot compete with Prince William, in my opinion.
No, because what you just described is what is happening. If we were to compare Harry's little interview he did in Australia when he was there, remember he did a talk and sat down and talked to the guy for a few minutes? If you watch and pay attention to his delivery and his sentence structure, those things, he's thought about those specifically. He studied what he was going to say. Then you see William, who you can tell he knows this stuff and he's pulling from it organically. As he talks, because he'll look around and say, so-and-so, and then this, and you'll illustrate the way our brain emphasizes specific words and phrases. Like I did just then, specific words and phrases. And when he illustrates, they land exactly where they're supposed to on the words. Now, if you'll watch Harry, a lot of times his will be out of sync with what he's saying, or they'll keep going.
Or there's like no emphasis. Like it just feels like this.
Because he's just delivering that information.
Yeah.
He's already been through it and know how it's going to sound. Whereas William is listening to it and he structures the sentence and then it goes, and then he emphasizes the words he thinks are important for that moment, like I did just then. So that's the difference. If you watch both of them, and Harry is uncomfortable. He looks uncomfortable. He can't. There's this sounds odd, but there's a way to sit when you're comfortable. Now look at I can't remember his first name, Cumberbatch. He's the Sherlock Holmes guy, for me, the best one.
Yeah. And
if you'll watch him, he's fairly comfortable. But if you'll look back at William, that's that old guy comfort.
Yeah, I got back problems. I don't care. I'm gonna slouch in this chair.
Yeah, it's the old school. Here we are.
We just need to hand him a glass of whiskey and a cigar.
Yeah, man, and he's good to go. He'll be there all day. But so that's the difference. He's comfy. He's a consummate sitter, you know. So as corny as that sounds,
he's got a little bit of a swag in the way that it reeks of confidence how he's sitting in the chair, like he's owning that it's a throne. It becomes an instant throne.
There you go. And it's because he knows that information. It's already there. He just has to structure it and send it out. Whereas Harry's already structured it and he has to remember how he structured it. So he's going to say it like this. I'm
assuming, based on previous intel I've received, that Harry doesn't do any of those sit downs without a copy of the questions approved by his team beforehand. So then he's likely scripted out the answers word for word. and is probably just trying to regurgitate. And the reason why, when we compare him to Meghan in those scenarios, Meghan outshines him is because of her acting background.
Yeah.
Because she's used to memorizing lines. She's used to realizing what words need a little bit more oomph behind them than, and what you want to try to really hit hard, and how you can use your vocal cords to say, nope, this is the most important sentence I'm about to deliver. And Harry just doesn't have those skills naturally. But you're saying like William not only has those skills, but part of the reason he shines is because he really cares and knows the topic.
He's got the topic down. That's why he can relax. There's a comedian named Nate Bargatze. He's the second.
Nate. I love him.
Man, he's the second person I would say, I don't know if it's who's more consummate at sitting, as weird as that sounds. Nate Bargatze can do that too. When he's on a talk show, man, he just sits back in a chair and you're like, well, this guy might be here all day.
Yeah.
We could just talk to him. But this is really good. He looks, and the thing about Meghan, when she's delivering her information, there's a sheen she puts on herself as she begins. That's why she has all the information and knows how to deliver it as an actress. So it looks semi-natural.
But I don't think you could have an organic conversation with her about the topic and her not bring it back to herself to try to justify her feelings. She can't say, organically, statistically, I'm confident about this because in 1998, research showed, and in 2026, research now shows. She says, well, I was the most bullied person online. That's not proof of anything, you psychopath, in my opinion, allegedly.
Yeah, she's the sheen is once you get that on there. Now, if you'll notice, William doesn't have that sheen, that constant expression on his face. It's not the same thing the whole time where his eyebrows are up and he's giving you information. It looks natural.
Is that a lack of authenticity? Is that sheen you're talking about? The lack of authenticity? Okay.
Yeah, because when you're acting like another person, in other words, you become that person, and you as what you're thinking about as you deliver your things. So that personality type you've got is a specific personality that you put on, and it doesn't move out of this because you haven't gone in depth of what it is. For example, you look at William. He's being himself, so he has a lot of things to reach for or use from. So that's why he can sit around and look so relaxed, and his illustrators aren't stiff. They're relaxed as he's talking. Whereas you watch Meghan, she's giving you information like this a lot. And her eyebrows go up like this, and it's almost like she's talking down to you. Whereas you're listening to him talk about something, you're listening to her tell you something.
At you. Yeah, you feel involved in his conversation.
Exactly.
You're digesting the information because you feel included in it. Whereas for some reason, with the way that she delivers with Harry, in one ear and out the other, that's how compelling he is to me as a speaker. And it amazes me that they think that he's going to make enough money for the family to survive with public speaking engagements. He's not a very compelling public speaker. But with Meghan, you're right. She's talking down to you. She's talking at you. And for some reason, when Prince William is talking, you feel like a member of a contributing member to the conversation. And it's easier to digest, remember, process what he's saying, because the way he's delivering it is so compelling.
Yeah. And if you listen to his voice tone, listen to the volume he delivers it at.
Lord Jesus, read a phone book to me, Prince William. Read a phone book.
I don't have that feeling when I watch it. But if you watch that, and when he talks to people, he just dead eyes them and just looks right in their face and leans forward. That's his conversational style when he's talking to someone. They're like, you've heard people say, I felt like I was the only one in the room. That guy can pull that off, and I think she probably can too. I think Catherine could do that too from watching people talk to her, not just because it's her, because after a few minutes that goes away after you're talking to somebody. But if you watch her, people still stare at her like it's just those two standing in the room. It sounds odd, but that's the way it looks anyway, because I know the way that looks.
Yeah. So I think absolutely, you're right. When I saw them in Boston, it was very funny because he got through, they separated in a crowd because they wanted to make sure they saw as many people as possible. So he went down one side and then came back around to say hi to the other side because he was so speedy around one side. And Catherine was still at the very end of the side he was now on. And he was like, I can't take her anywhere. Like, look,
No.
because she was giving everybody so much attention in that
Yeah.
line. And it was a joke. He was being silly because she was enjoying the conversations that she was having with people. So she was still all the way down that line and they needed to meet up so that they could leave. But yeah, you're exactly right. They are so good at making you feel special. And not everybody can do that. And not everybody in their position would make an effort to do that.
That's true too.
Like that's very sweet. I saw somebody from The Vampire Diaries, which is a show that you're too mature to watch that I love, named Candace. She played a girl named Caroline on the show, talking about in a podcast that when people come up to her, she understands, because this is back when they would do like 20 episodes a season. They don't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
But she said, I understand that you feel like you're my friend, and I'm going to give you a positive reaction, and I'm going to give you the attention that you deserve because I understand why you think that we are friends. And that's kind of like the Prince and Princess of Wales. Like, they don't have to be as kind and sweet and generous as they are, but they just are. And that's why I'll support people like Candace. I'll support the Prince and Princess of Wales. I'm telling you, I don't think Harry and Meghan think that way based on their actions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because they're like the Sean Penn of that. They don't want to have their, he doesn't want his picture taken. He don't want to do this, don't want to do that, or didn't used to. I don't know how he's these days. They're like that. There's the people, and then there's them. They're special. Whereas I think William and Catherine are kind of like, hey, here we are. Oh yeah, I'm the guy that's going to be, I'm going to be king and stuff. But anyway, let's talk
like
about
the self-deprecating humor we were talking about.
Exactly. So you feel like you don't feel like they're above you. You feel like, they are.
Well, they're above you,
them.
but they don't make you feel that way.
Yeah.
That is special. That's hard to maintain the mystique and to maintain the whatever it is, to maintain that presence as royalty, but to still make people feel special and seen that's a skill that I don't know how long it takes for people to learn that skill, but it certainly is a skill. Hey everyone, Kinsey Schofield here, and I want to tell you about today's sponsor. It's a total game changer, Peak's Liver Detox Protocol. You may not know it, but your liver handles a lot: energy, hormones, digestion, and even your mood. But with all the stress and toxins from everyday life, it needs some love. Forget harsh cleanses. Peak delivers gentle daily support inspired by traditional Chinese medicine. Their routine uses two simple blends. The first is a warming turmeric mix with cinnamon and black pepper, designed to help the body absorb it better and support the liver while calming inflammation. The second is a ginger and cinnamon blend that helps with blood flow, digestion, bloating, and immune support. The magic is how they work together to activate and flush for better digestion, stable energy, less brain fog, and that light, clear feeling. My energy is consistent, my skin is clear, and less bloating. That's Peak, where spirit meets science. Redefine your standard of health, secure 20% off your order, and begin your intentional wellness journey today at peaklife.com/Kinsey. That's PIQUE life.com/Kinsey. Thanks so much. Well, we were talking about Prince William. Let's move on to another video of him. He was front and center again during London Climate Action Week, reflecting on the success of his Earthshot Prize, the global environmental initiative he launched in 2020. I love this, Scott. They give millions of dollars to people that approach them with ideas about how to improve the world, to leave the world better than they found it. they're supposed to do it for 10 years. I hope they do it for infinity, but they've set this goal, this tangible goal. So for like 10 years, they do this contest, they do this award show every year. They give people millions of dollars. And like one of the contestants or one of the Earthshot people that I really admired, they created a trash can that collects trash in the ocean with the way that it moves up and down. It collects pieces of plastic and but it does not affect the wildlife. So of course I live over here on the West Coast. I hate going out to whale watch and seeing balloons discarded in the ocean, seeing plastic bottles floating. Like, so this is something that would collect those pieces. And that's incredible that Prince William is financing some of these things. He's not only helping to finance them, he's finding huge companies like Google and IKEA and these other, like major partners that help pay for these things as well. And it is something he should be totally proud about. And he was kind of peacocking, saying the Earthshot Prize has been doing a pretty good job. He spoke about the momentum behind the project and the innovators working to tackle some of the world's biggest environmental challenges, making it clear that Earthshot remains one of the defining pillars of his public work. So let's take a look at some of that video that they posted to their Instagram.
When we launched the Earthshot Prize in 2020, we believed we could show the world evidence of progress. Progress towards what felt like immense climate and nature goals. Today we have more than belief. We now have proof. Since 2020, 75 finalists have already helped avoid or capture 18 million tons of carbon dioxide. They have protected and restored 1.4 million square kilometers of land, ocean, and coastline. They have saved 21 million tons of water. And they have removed, upcycled, or avoided almost 500,000 tons of waste. By 2030, the prize will have supported 150 finalists. The planet does not have time for inch-by-inch change, but the proof is now in front of us. And history will ask what we did with it.
All right. There's one moment that I want to talk to you about. And I know the audience kind of gets annoyed with me when I go down the Princess Diana route because, well, mostly when I mention comparisons to the Princess of Wales, Catherine, it's not really fair, but it's the reality. They both are very stylish. The people's princess. They both are great with children. People love them. But there was a moment during this speech where I like audibly gasped because he reminded me so much of his mother. And it's just this look right here. It's just this look that very much reminded me of Princess Diana giving speeches. And when she was serious about something, she would look at you, right underneath her forehead. Do you see similarities in his speech delivery in any of Diana's? Because you said, I see Diana, I see a little bit of King Charles. You've mentioned that you see some similarities in all of them.
Yeah, when you have somebody's child, if you will start noticing, even though they didn't spend their whole life with that person, with their parent, they'll still have some of the mannerisms that their parent would have, that one or both their parents would have. One of his things is when he finishes something and wants it to look important, he'll look over like that because it's that look of.
It's a punctuation.
Yeah, but it's almost a look at and away from the audience of it's you. Now I'm looking at you because he's talking about something that needs to be done. If you don't,
by all of us, we all need to contribute.
Exactly. And those eyes kick over, and it does look like stuff she used to do as well, because it's that short pause, and then they kick back over to here once you're finished delivering whatever your information is. But at the same time, it gives you the feeling there's something over there, there's something extra, there's something more. So
clever.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of little tricks for speakers do to give you those feelings you have. But I don't think he can help that. I don't think he's trying. Nobody said, here's what you do. But he does that one naturally. And I think because his mom would do stuff like that or things similar to that. But you got to admit, or you don't have to admit, but it looks to me, he looks a lot like his mom there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. Do you see similarities not only in the way that they look, but in their body language or mannerisms?
The big difference, though, is that he doesn't bring his head down. He doesn't do that. She was always doing that humbling thing. She'd bring her chin down, her head down.
Shy die. They called her shy die.
Okay. I didn't know that, but she was doing that all the time. He doesn't do that, but he does look like her. So we automatically go, okay, let's see if he doesn't sound like her because he's a guy, but he does have some of the same inflections that she has, even though she was from a different social situation than he is from. He still has those little inflections of her delivery. And I just remember that from seeing a couple of those, the way she talks is, as you and I have been going over stuff, I'll see that and just listen to what she has to say. And if I was going to say what's the difference in those two, it's a lot of big differences, but there's a couple of things that he does that she did as well. And Harry has none of those. We don't see that in his at all. And he sounds like
I love that you said that. I love that you said that.
And he's always sounding like he's giving a speech. Then he pulls up his pants and does his coat. And then he starts talking again about something. And then he always makes you feel weird or bad about something. Like he's trying
And when he tries to make a joke, it comes off awful. Like he's not
funny.
even good at he's not funny. Like it just, when he tries, Meghan Markle must have just seen so much opportunity for herself professionally in this man. Less about his brains, less about what they could accomplish together charity wise, and more about I can't wait to use you to become the most famous woman in the world. And, but otherwise your contributions are very limited, because as I'm explaining to you, off the top of my head, why I loved the Earthshot Prize. And then I listened to Prince William rattling off these incredible stats about literal change that they've made in the very short time that they existed. I'm thinking to myself, what has Prince Harry done? What has he done over the last few years that can compare to anything like that? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, he's got nothing. Zero.
Nothing. I mean, he just could not present anything in front of us right now that we would go, oh, so you're doing the kind of work that William's doing. Good for you. Thanks for pursuing that life of service you promised you'd be pursuing when you left the royal family.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just such a dramatic difference in the two. It's huge. And one thing I noticed, Harry is more around a lot of lighter colors, whereas William you'll see a lot of darker colors and a lot of wood, a lot of dark stuff. So where Harry will be in front of those things, it's that really wacky looking blue that he was standing in front of in Australia. I don't think you could pay, there isn't enough money you could pay William enough to go out there and talk in front of that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just odd looking.
You're right. A lot of it does have to do with having the right team around you. But I want to give Harry and Meghan's past employees a little bit of credit. I do think that they've tried to work with really intelligent people, but the reality is they don't listen to some pretty good advice that they've been given over the last few years. They just refuse to accept it. They always think they're the smartest people in the room, and what a dangerous position to be in.
Yeah, you can have a great car and you can hire the best mechanic in the world, but you don't let him get up under the hood or do what he's supposed to do. Or he goes, here, we need to change this. And, yeah, okay, yeah, maybe we'll get to that. And yeah, maybe, you need to do this. Don't drive like this. Yeah, I probably won't. And they don't do what he says to do, and your car gets messed up, know.
And then the car's no longer, it decreases in value. William is not the most theatrical public speaker. I mean, he's very composed and his delivery is impeccable in my opinion, but he still seems to command attention. From a body language perspective, where does that presence come from? We talked about Diana, we talked about King Charles. Could this be genetics? Could this be in his DNA? Do you think he's practiced this? Because he is just so damn good.
Well, yeah, because but keep in mind, look what's happening to George. Same thing's happening. That's why he'll be a good king, and he'll be the same way. I'm telling you, when that kid gets older, he'll be just like his dad.
Yeah.
He'll have it together. He'll be able to think on his feet. He'll be able to deliver well. And some people have it and some people don't. And a lot of times the oldest child will have that, that personality type to be able to pull these things off. And I don't know if it's because of where Harry is in the chain of, he's the youngest or whatever, but a lot of it is natural. You either have it or you don't most of the time. It's something you could learn, but I think William
to me, William is clearly more disciplined in every way, shape, or form than Prince Harry is.
I'm with you. I'm
Yeah.
completely. We don't have a history of doing drugs. We don't have a history of running around. And nothing wrong with
Crying to the media.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a history of fighting with paparazzi. I mean, that's like, sorry to go on a tangent right now, but one of my biggest issues with some of the headlines surrounding Prince William's anger, which I always push back on, like Prince William furious. No, he's not. I honestly, he just doesn't want to be bothered. But one of my biggest issues with that is that I think that that is a Sussex-led narrative that starts with Harry saying, my brother shoved me and broke my necklace and my dog bowl. And, in the last, 4 years, since they sat down with Oprah Winfrey and accused the royal family of racism, Prince William has lost his grandmother, his grandfather. He's been accused of racism. He found out his father had cancer, still has cancer, is living with cancer. His wife is thankfully in remission from cancer, again, accused of racism. And we have never seen him lash out. He has always been so kind and composed and put together. And it was Harry that was physically fighting paparazzi outside of nightclubs. If you want me to believe that anybody has an anger issue, I'm going to look at a pattern I've visibly seen, not some random story from Spare, which has factual errors in it, to determine whether, and I just don't believe that Prince William is walking around with this chip on his shoulder and is always mad about something. I'm sorry. And I've been around him and I haven't seen it for myself.
Yeah, I've only been around for two situations where the king or the future king's younger brother, the king's younger brother, is not doing too good. Isn't that Andrew?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think he's doing too well socially. I don't think Harry's doing too well socially either. The ones that are always in trouble all the time doing something.
Nice observation. Yeah.
So maybe there's something to that second child in a marriage in that situation.
Princess Margaret, she loved a good cigarette in the morning, like a cigarette for breakfast with her cocktail.
Oh man! Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's historically? Is there a history of the second one being problematic?
Yes, I'd say recently, yes. But keep in mind that Queen Elizabeth's father was the second son. And when his brother abdicated, he was really a hero. He was really, if you think about what would have been had Wallace and Edward been married, Wallace is the divorced American that he gave up the crown for. Had they not abdicated and Queen Elizabeth not been given the role, inevitably she was, I mean, truly, if you can ignore the Andrew scandal, which is so tough to do, she's really one of the best monarchs in history, like truly one of the most incredible queens ever in the entire world. And that wouldn't have happened had Edward not abdicated and allowed her father to reign. And he was the second son, and he was a hero. He was a wonderful monarch as well. Very close to Churchill. And when the war was happening, he wouldn't leave Buckingham Palace. The palace was being bombed as he was living there, and he wanted to stay and serve with his people. He was a good second son. So there is a pattern, but not always.
Oh, I know. I was going to ask you, what's this business about the king not living in Buckingham Palace anymore?
We talked about this a few weeks ago. Don't you remember? I told you that he's not going to live there. And you were like, really? The renovation.
That's right.
We talked about, we broke this story, Scott. Like, honestly, people aren't giving us enough credit or attention because we basically broke the story.
I saw something on Instagram. I was like, what? Maybe that's why I felt familiar.
Yeah, because we just had that. You were surprised that I didn't think the king was going to live there, but I wasn't. I predicted that they would use it more for tourism opportunity, but also continue to use it as HQ, headquarters for the royal family, and for big state visits when they entertain, dignitaries, when they entertain presidents all over the world. They'll say, "Yeah, come to Buckingham Palace." Yeah, I don't think it's
Okay.
that big of a deal. Some people are losing their mind over it, but they need a hobby, you know?
Okay. I forgot about that. You're right. God, how many of these have we done?
A lot.
It still feels new to me.
And we're breaking news left and right, and people aren't even listening to us.
Dang, I'm not even listening to it, apparently.
All right. Well,
So,
any other observations about Prince William, who is just
mm,
such a stallion, before we let our audience go?
he looks healthy.
Yeah, he
He
does.
looks really
Oh
healthy.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Where I don't mean like that. I mean he looks really healthy. He
He
looks, you know,
does.
he looks together.
Yeah.
Whereas you see Harry, and I don't know. Does
Oh, I
that cat
know.
smoke? Does he smoke? Does he
Yeah,
smoke?
he smokes.
He does.
Harry ganja, but yes.
Okay. Maybe that's the difference.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the difference.
Yeah. And yeah, ugh, don't get me started. But no, he does. Prince Harry looks pale and a little weak, like a paper cut could take him out. And
Yeah.
Prince William walks in with that beard, and oh my God, when he walked into St. George's Chapel,
Go. What do you
yeah,
got?
well, I thought there was the second Immaculate Conception. When I walked out, I was like,
Wow.
such a dream.
I wouldn't know it.
You don't
I'm
know
trying,
anything.
man. I
But
just,
but I think you're right. But what's exciting is like one of the next times we talk
mhm.
is we're going to have something from Harry in the UK. Whether Meghan's there, we don't know. Whether the kids are there and we see them, we have no clue.
Oh,
But we do know that we're going to get some new Meghan and Harry material. I speak for the both of us, Scott, when I say very seriously to Meghan Markle that we request closed-toed shoes
thank
for
you.
this upcoming trip. Okay.
Just leave your
No,
shoes on.
no
Just
one
leave them
wants to
on.
see this little piggy went to market girlfriend. Piggy needs to stay in a closed door market, you know?
Her feet look like my uncle's feet. I think that maybe that's what bothers me about him. Doesn't look natural. Shouldn't be doing that.
All right,
Making people.
any closing thoughts?
Not now.
No, you're done. You're done.
That
All
was
right,
it.
agree with us, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again very soon.